sauce. Protect Philippe, the plane with. That's too much sauce. Hermes in the aim. That's too much sauce. They let me know before I was famous. I had too much sauce.
Hello, everybody. This is 3 Peas in a Pod, and you're here with Pasha Zulfigar,
Terrence Davis,
and the lady of the group, Charlotte Moore.
How are you doing, Charlotte?
I'm doing well. How are you, Terrence?
I'm doing good.
And Pasha, how are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for asking.
Pasha, again, how do you say your last name?
Zulfigari.
We're going to ask you that every week because I'm still trying to process that.
Nah,
Zulfigari.
Yeah.
Pasha, what's your middle name?
Reza.
Reza, I like that.
Yeah.
Pasha Reza. I'm going to just call you Reza from now on.
Wu-Tang.
Reza.
Is it RZA? Like
R-E-Z-A.
Oh,
R-E-Z-A.
A little
You
less
Persian, huh?
cool. Yeah.
Like one of my friends from high school, his name was Amir, but his middle name was Reza Mohammadzadeh. Mohammadzadeh or Mohammadzadeh, that's how they say it.
There are some like, well, actually, that's a whole tangent, but Amir is a very Persian name.
How did you guys feel about your last class in Gabe's? You happy with your presentations? I mean, Charlotte, we were in the same group. I think we just kind of finagled that whole thing.
I think we killed it. We mashed
Well,
it.
you guys
Were
also
you looking
went
up things
first.
on your phone?
No, not at all.
No, but the thing is, you guys kind of saved the rest of the groups because he asked you about revenue, and like he didn't really ask that before the presentation. But then once he asked you guys, then everyone
Everybody
else
looked
started
it up.
like, "Shit, what's
He always asks me stuff, and I'm like, no. Like, I'm not going to lie to you, but I'm not going to feed into your stuff. Like, he just,
Well, he just wanted to, I mean, actually, it's a legit question, but.
I mean, you knew you could have saved us, but, you know.
No, that actually wouldn't. It would have made you look bad if I would have answered it like, well, what did he do in the group? I think if we all stuck together and we just let him do it. I mean, it wasn't a bad thing you didn't know. I was just saying it's a legit question.
Yeah, like I said, he didn't ask. Like it wasn't.
And we
like,
helped everybody else out because they didn't know either.
Yeah,
So-
like my group didn't know. We searched right after
Right.
you asked you guys. But yeah, guys, I'm looking at a headline. Can I read it for you?
Sure.
Go ahead.
It says, former WNBA star claims she was bullied for being straight. And apparently in this, Candace Wiggins, what position does she play?
She's point guard.
Point guard?
Yeah, well, she's point guard, but she played combo.
Okay, so she's like a Jordan Clarkson type.
What team did she play for?
She played for a lot of teams in WNBA,
Wait, why
but
can't
she
she-
played Stanford. Because she's better than Jordan Clarkson. That's just funny.
No, I'm just kidding. She probably is.
No, she's more, also known because her dad was the famous baseball player. I think he died of, actually, I think he had the virus or maybe AIDS, but her dad was
HIV?
pretty good. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Or maybe AIDS, but so she.
Wow.
But,
I wonder if her
but he's a
coach-
great player too, so that's why he was known. But Candace is
So-
a great player, so
What's great? A great college player, a great WNBA player?
I mean, great player for us all around. Not the most talented, but I'm just saying she's a great player. So
How would you say about her attitude? What would you say about her attitude? Like on the court, is she a court leader?
Yeah, I think so. She's very vocal, very high energized player.
'Cause-
she didn't play like me, so to speak. Those type of guards I used to
You're a one
love
in a
playing
million.
against.
You're one in a
Yeah,
million,
thanks,
Charlotte.
Posh. I love that. That's my favorite song. Aaliyah. Yeah, but she was a great floor general. I mean, she was on a great team with Minnesota with Maya Moore and Simone Augustus. So she kind of got overshadowed a lot by that talent.
Well, I say that, or I asked that because like this is kind of a pretty heavy statement. Like you just coming out saying 98% of the WNBA
Right.
are lesbians. They do not create, or a lot of lesbians that were on my team did not create a good environment for heterosexual people. Like this is very charged statements.
No, I absolutely can see that. I think she exaggerated. I don't think 98% of the WNBA are lesbians, but I think because the number is so high that she was trying to make a point when saying that more so than being accurate on her facts. But being a collegiate player and also playing almost all my life, I can understand how she can feel when you're considered the minority. It's no different like if you were the other way around, perhaps, and the majority of the league was heterosexual. So I see where she's coming from. I don't know necessarily the words that are being used to describe that type of environment, far as saying she was bullied, maybe to the extent, maybe kind of, again, exaggerating. But I can see how she could feel like they kind of pressure you to conform, like, or not be yourself. And it is tough, when you feel like you want to still be a team player and work. And a lot of times when you're in those close quarters, a lot of things you do off the court does, in a way emulate on the court. So if you guys are already having those type of differences just in lifestyles and what you prefer, it does kind of drive a division. I know, in a sense, I know I wasn't close with a lot of my teammates because we just had two different types of lifestyles, how we live. So I can see where she's coming from. She's on a team that was majority that way, and she didn't want to hang out with them, and then that carried over in their play.
When you say majority minority, and you're speaking heterosexual versus homosexual in women's basketball, did you feel that there was that disparity in college basketball as well?
Yeah, I did. I mean, most of those players are feeders. So I think it started even in high school. I think part of the problem that heterosexual players really find with this is that it's a stereotype that if you're a female and you play sports,
any sport,
yeah, but especially basketball, you're considered that maybe that's the way, and then sometimes it makes you, then people look at you, then okay, then you're against homosexuality, and it's not that you're against it, but you just don't want to be defined as something that you're not. You want to be an honest opinion about you just as well. So I think that was her. To me, I think she's more speaking out about that than necessarily her far cry about, again, feeling bullied. But I think it's that because she wasn't that, it took away from how she was able to navigate or how she was able to perform because she wasn't in that in the majority.
When I initially saw this, it was a touchy subject for real. I can't really say that how she feels or what she experienced. I can't say she doesn't have a right to feel that way. If she feels that way, that's how she feels.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But what bothered me is I don't think it was the fact that she felt she was bullied because she was heterosexual. I feel what bothered me is she felt she was bullied because she was nationally popular. Like, I don't really get how, I don't really get how that factor
I don't
in.
know if she's nationally popular either, because I don't think many people when I said her name.
I know her from college. I don't know her.
This is the first time I've read her name.
In WNBA. I don't know how. I wouldn't say if I'm thinking of the star players in the WNBA, her name is not listed on there. So the whole national popularity thing kind of got to me. I felt like I was more like a humble brag. Well, people don't like me because other people like me, as opposed to I feel like I'm a minority in.
Unless she was saying that because outside the WNBA, pop culture has been more acceptable to her, and there's jealousy. Now I can see that.
That's understandable.
So if she's implying that, then I can see jealousy being a thing. But to say
it's just hard for me to really, it's hard for me to, based off personal experience, my dad being a gay man, it's hard for me to see a group of people who have been oppressed themselves oppressing someone else because of their sexual orientation. So it's like saying, like, a gay person making fun of you because you're straight. Like, I can understand how she would feel uneasy, how she could feel like she's an outsider, how she can feel like she's a minority. Yeah. But it's just hard for me to see women bullying you because you're not, like other women.
To your point, I actually read someone, to be honest, I didn't read who tweeted it.
Wait, but we have to, that's my opinion.
Right.
Yeah.
But
we know.
I don't feel like it's my right to say, well, if it's true that she does get bullied because she's heterosexual, it just...
Well, to Pasha's point, bully has been used without her directly saying it. So that's what I'm saying. I think people have taken her comments and taken them out of the context that she meant. And I think she was sticking more on, like you're saying, just being an outcast and being maybe pressured, not necessarily bullied, but pressured to feel like, because I'm not like the rest, then again it impacts her experience, her professional experience, versus if she conformed to what was the majority, she would have a better experience. And that is not fair. It is kind of a reverse bias or reverse discrimination.
And again, I don't know if I can speak to the bullying because obviously I'm not in the locker rooms or anything. But
You're not?
it's a situation, I'm not. Unfortunately, I was never good enough for any sport, men's, women's, no sports I could play. But
I wonder what her coach is. Her head coach Tara Vanderveer. So I wonder what she has. She knows her better. Candace Wiggins better than any of us. She has a relationship. She's seen her grow as a college athlete. I wonder what her opinion might be on this particular subject. I think that.
What were you gonna say, Posh?
Go ahead.
Well, I was just gonna say, like, if it's a situation, not saying this is 100% the situation, but if it's a situation where, maybe if people are going to certain bars or going out to certain places in a group, and she's not joining, maybe she feels left out for that. Not saying that gay people only hang out with gay
that's
people
how
or
it
lesbian,
is.
but if you're going to a certain bar, for example, and your team's going and you're not joining, maybe, and I would want to hear her entire interview first, but like maybe she was saying it's just an environment where I feel like an outsider.
Right. But
or an environment where I don't feel part of the group.
Yeah, that's exactly how it is, just based off, I know from my experience. Like, that's what I'm saying. Like, if you're not there, if you're not into, like you said, that same sex orientation, a lot of places that you guys hang out are different because they have what they call gay bars. Yeah. So most heterosexual, well, I don't even say most, myself, I know I didn't want to go to a gay bar. And a lot of times I would not go to a lot of the team functions if that was where we were going. But some things you would try to find. I would say great teams try to find places where everybody could feel, at least that this was somewhere everybody could hang out without it having to be like a gay bar or a straight bar, which was 9 times out of 10 just restaurants, because there are no such thing as gay restaurants, I don't think. But and I think that's what she's saying, because the culture is so big in the WNBA, you're not finding that balance. And you're more so finding yourself being pressured or being ridiculed because you're not in that.
I mean, but as a minority, she's been experienced where she's been the minority in other instances too. And did she back out from that as well, or I don't want to do that because I feel like an
I don't
outsider.
think she backed out. I think she was responding to.
No, she said the reason that has factored into why she retired.
Right.
So it's like
factor. That's what I'm saying. But
I wouldn't want to quit a job. Like, for instance, if I want to work at, like, we want to be broadcasters, we work at networks where we might not be the majority, we will be considered a minority. I might feel obviously out of my element not being surrounded by people who look like me, but I'm not going to stop doing what I love to do because I feel that other people don't align with the same demographics or,
go ahead.
That I believe in. So
I
just feel
that situation where, for example, if you go work at a place where you are the minority or you are the outsider, maybe would you find that as a source of strength, or would you find that as a source where, like, after 10 years, I don't know how long she's been in the league, where after 10 years you're just like, man, like, if I don't have to keep doing this.
And that's where I think she was.
I think that's where
I was
she
about
was.
to say,
but she's not the only straight player in the WNBA.
No, she's
so
not.
I want to hear from them what are their experiences.
Well, other straight players did comment on, and like I said, she was basing this response on a question that they were asking her about her experience. So she's just saying, my WNBA experience sucked because I felt this way, because I felt this.
Then I really don't understand the backlash. Like I've never understood backlash. If that's you're not dropping names, you're not disrespecting anybody. You're just saying, on my experience, I feel like an outsider because the majority of women that I've come across in the WNBA are homosexual, and I'm not homosexual.
Right.
Now I feel like maybe she can. It says here that she's very, very adamant about vocalizing that she's heterosexual. That might steer some people the wrong way.
But then I think that speaks to, because again, like I said, I think most heterosexual players get offended by the stereotype that if you play sports, then, and that's where I think she's coming from. Like, I had to defend my sexuality and this is why, and this has made my experience work. And then people get ridicule me because I'm having.
But why do you have to defend your sexuality?
Well, you're right. I mean,
like,
but some people.
Who are these people that are they signing your checks?
Well, no, but it's
But
like
you
it would be an assumption. Like
Right.
if I went up to Charlotte and
then
I'm
if she did
speaking
have
to
an
her-
issue, how come she never brought this up when she was playing?
But she was talking about it. It's just now making headlines.
But like I could see that making
I'm just
assumptions.
asking.
Like for
Yeah,
example,
you're
when people ask like, okay, a lot of times I don't expect people to know every country in the Middle East. But when people say like, oh, are you this culture? It's not that I don't like that particular culture. It's just
Right.
like, okay, I don't want you to assume I'm
You don't want
something
to be
I'm not.
misunderstood.
You know, like I have no problem with any other culture, and every other culture has as beautiful of a history as Iranian culture. But like I'm proud of my Iranian culture,
Right.
so I would rather not have people assume. But I don't get mad because like how are people supposed to? I
Right.
assume that people don't know much about Middle Eastern culture.
No,
usually,
but that's a great point, and that's why I think nobody wants to be misunderstood. And I think it's not that she's
assumptions.
Yeah, she doesn't have anything against the.
I never said she had anything against them.
No, I'm not saying you. I'm saying period. Far as the backlash.
I'm just saying,
For
like,
the
when you
defense.
like have to like verbalize, like, I just feel like in a situation where she's saying, I have to continually vocalize that I'm heterosexual or hetero or that I'm straight. I mean, obviously, I know that's important to her, but how that could make other players feel like, well, like, do you not comfortable
Defending
in your
it too
own
strong.
skin?
Yeah. Well, yeah,
like,
you're right.
You're comfortable
but-
with your identity is who you are. You know
Yeah.
yourself better than anybody else. So regardless if you say somebody's heterosexual
But
or straight,
then-
are they gonna believe you?
But then, right, that's true too. But
Terrence,
then you can look at it from another perspective then and say, well, why does it bother them? Like if she's just vocalizing, why does it bother somebody else
True.
that she's saying what she is?
Well, and we're all a little older now, so I think once you reach a certain age, not everyone, but once you reach a certain age, you become comfortable with yourself. But I was talking to Charlotte, and she was saying this is a problem that happens in high school too. So like, if this is an issue that maybe the environment you are in makes you self-conscious about your sexuality, it's kind of hard for someone who doesn't quite know themselves yet. Like I don't know about you guys, but as a teenager, I don't feel like I knew myself like in terms of I knew I was straight or I knew I was like a man.
It's like, what
I
did you
knew I
say?
was this or that, but like in terms of just the confidence in myself, in my own skin, I wouldn't say I was necessarily the most confident like 13, 14-year-old because I was going through puberty, acne. Like it's a very I always feel for teenagers because that's a really like up and down time. Hormones are going everywhere. You're looking at the mirror like, why can't I be like a stud or something?
And also, I mean, I think putting out there that that obviously it's uncomfortable for her to be, if it was an uncomfortable situation for her to be, you know, in a culture where she felt like she was an outsider, but it also speaks to, it's kind of saying, well, what was the culture of the women who were homosexual? Like, what are you implying that made you uncomfortable? Because if just being homosexual makes you uncomfortable, I don't think that's a good enough reason for why to not want to.
I don't think that's what all she's saying. Like I said, I think
But we don't. I mean,
Well, the
it's all
headline said
speculation.
that.
So I'm just saying, like,
yeah, but I'm saying.
but when you saying, hey,
but no, I read. It's not all speculation. I read actually what she said. So that's what I'm saying. I don't think she was implying that homosexuality made her uncomfortable. She was saying the environment and her experience being in a culture.
but what in her experience, like, what about that issue made her uncomfortable? That's what I
Right.
want to know.
Yeah, I know you're looking for specifics,
Yeah.
and that's cool. But I'm saying it wasn't that sexuality is more so versus because I am not in the majority of that. It's like the conforming of it, and again, that's any, I guess, in those type of cases, any population.
And then naturally the NBA organization, the WNBA organization is going to be they're going to have some issue with that because it's saying it seems like, well, this culture exists in the WNBA and nothing's being done to change it, and therefore I don't feel like I can continue to work here.
Well, and I think the headline had a lot because you're bringing up like she said the environment, like she said all these things,
Right.
but then the headline says WNBA player bullied by lesbian
Right.
community or
Right.
whatever.
And like
what
the
was
president
it?
has come out and spoken, and she's
Bullied
like
for being
stunned by what she said.
Well, the president may be stunned, but the union president, L.A. Sparks player, she actually had a very, I would say, unbiased response to it, and she said, these allegations should be looked into, which I
course.
agree, and that this is not to say that these things are not happening. I mean, because there is some, like I said, there's some validity to what she's saying. It's just like maybe it's not bullying, but I'm sure, yeah, but I'm sure it's pressure because if it's still part of who you are, and if you're not the same as the other people, then what are they doing? Because again, you're on a team, and the team is the chemistry of the team, all those things are still dictated by how you are off the court. I mean, you can't separate. You try, but you can't. Trust me, I've tried. So you can't separate.
And I don't want. And yeah, we
there.
talking on. I don't want to think. I'm not trying to hate on Candace Wiggins. I'm just trying to offer a different perspective.
You sounded like you hate on my girl.
No, I mean,
and I don't even know her like it, but I do empathize with her. I mean, like I said, because I don't think she was bashing I
don't think she was bashing either, but you never know how when you say something, you never know how it can be taken. And obviously you can tell by the headlines of different newspapers. It's been taken in the context where she said she was bullied, even though she did not come out and say that fully like that.
True, but if you also look into it, I think you can tell her intentions were not, because she, in her words, she never used, like you said, and I think that's why she didn't use specific players. And because her intentions were just to bring up awareness about, everybody's not this way. And like I said, I think it's more about dispelling the stereotype that women athletes have to be homosexual.
I mean, I think it also is smart that it created like a social discussion about it.
Like what
the whole purpose is to
that's
talk
what I'm
about
saying.
it.
Awareness, right?
So it just makes sense.
Valid
point.
Yeah, I think that's good.
All right.
So are we ready to move on? I mean, I appreciate you guys letting the ladies start this first.
It's all good.
So okay, a few days ago, Lakers Genie Bus pulls a full Game of Thrones thing. Change of the regime. President of Basketball Operations Jim Buss out. General Manager Mitch Kupchak out, and then a very unpopular move, public relations guy John Black, I think his name is, he's out. But and in their places, they got, at least for Jim Buss's role, Magic Johnson. And what you were bringing up is Dan Le Batard's comments on it. So do you want me to say what he said?
Should I read the transcript?
Yeah, you should read the transcript.
So here's the transcript of Dan Le Batard's comments. So he said, "What you've got here, though, is a testament to the power of fame, a testament to the power of a modicum of charm, because Magic Johnson is charming. But Magic Johnson was giving a late-night television show because he's famous and charming. Failed in 11 shows. Magic Johnson was given a head coaching job of the Lakers because he's famous and charming. Failed in 16 games. Magic Johnson not interesting as a broadcaster, given broadcasting opportunity after broadcasting opportunity because he's famous and charming. And now he gets to run the entire Lakers organization because he's famous and charming. That's amazing." So when Dan Le Batard made these comments, a particular broadcaster from the same network, Keyshawn Johnson, did not appreciate his comments at all and went as far as to say that his comments, had racial overtones and insinuated that Dan Le Batard was attacking Magic Johnson because he was black. And because he had gotten the opportunity to do something because he was a famous black athlete. So, your thoughts when you initially heard this?
I mean, there's
Posture.
two angles looking at this. One is Dan Le Batard for a long time. And again, I don't think any of us he's our favorite announcer, but a lot of people who have talked about him personally and a lot of the actions he's done, he has worked with minority communities before.
He's Cuban, I think.
Is he?
Yeah,
I think he is. Yeah. You're right. But I don't think he is racist. I think what he said was really stupid though. If he said Magic Johnson had never had a job running a basketball organization, period, okay. But he didn't get this job because he's charming. He didn't get this job because he's good at talking to people. He got this job because he is a smart businessman. He is a smart guy who knows how to handle a large amount of money. He already has shown success with a sports organization, the Dodgers. And just discrediting all that, and the only evidence you bring up is a 16-game or 17-game coaching stint and a late-night show from 20 years ago. Like that I thought was extremely stupid of him.
Well, I think people don't understand when and this is, I guess, one of those inside the community type things when we say racism or how we say the racial overtone. I think what Keyshawn meant was where it's rooted in, and how a black man's intelligence specifically always gets questioned when they get into an executive position. And you don't question the credentials or qualifications when there are white men who haven't played sports or who haven't even been in the game, but or if we look at our president who has not had any experience
questioning even his birth.
Right. But I mean, but nobody questioned Trump, who had no political.
Nobody questioned, or Ted Cruz was born in Canada.
Right. So those type of things do not occur as much as when African Americans, specifically the males, are in those positions. You know, this goes even back to not to bring up football, but you know, when they don't put football players, black players as quarterbacks. You know, any leadership role, a black male is always questioned about their credentials and qualifications. So that's where the racism is, and that's why I think, that does make Dan Le Batard a racist. Not necessarily saying that in everything he does. He may, he may have helped black kids out. I don't know. But just because you help out a black kid doesn't stop you from not being racist. Slave masters thought they were helping black kids out too, and they still were racist. So,
I feel like he was implying that we should be cautious about Magic Johnson because of we don't necessarily know how he will be as the president of basketball operations. However, I think he went way too far out listing all the things that he's ever failed at, basically implying that this is going to be on that list as well. Instead of being like, well, although Magic Johnson does not have basketball operations or running a franchise, he does have experience in business that might lead him to be successful. However, we have to see in the future if that's going to hold true. Right. I think something like that would have been more respectable, but it's just hard for you to side with someone who says something who has such a harsh criticism about a player who's not only that talented, former player that talented, but who's also still beloved by almost anybody who watches NBA basketball.
Well, actually, it's smart. That's my point. Like I said, it's more towards why are you questioning somebody? Why is Magic questioning? I mean, we should have been cautioned about a lot of leadership roles. Again, when nobody questioned Jim Buss when he was.
Where was you at when Phil Jackson got? Yeah, where was he at when Phil Jackson got the job?
I don't know if this is true, but some people were arguing on 710 ESPN that one of the points, because someone was defending, I think it was one of the Kamenetsky brothers, in saying that like Dan Le Batard also spoke out when John Elway was elected to run the Broncos. So he's saying, so that was the thing. But like what I'm saying is,
how spoke out? How did he?
Again, I don't. Yeah, like I said, that's just an argument I heard on 710 ESPN. I'm not sure if.
He didn't offer, and I feel like Dan Le Batard, he's a seasoned journalist. He should know what he's doing. He didn't offer both sides of the perspective. He offered only the cons. He didn't offer the pros.
Do you guys think?
So I think it's important that if you're going to talk about whether someone's going to be successful, give light to what they've done that proves that they've been successful. But also, it's okay to bring light to the things that they didn't do that show that they're failures. But you can't just highlight
the most minimalist.
What does
failures,
him running what does him being a broadcaster have
Right.
anything to do with him running a basketball? Those are completely different jobs. He did himself a disservice by not giving an adequate assessment of how Magic Johnson would perform in that role.
And I don't have a problem with him, like, again, if he was just saying Magic Johnson has not had a job running an organization, or even if he just wanted to be against the pack journalist, like in terms of when Magic Johnson was hired, right? I think rightfully so. I was one of the people who was pro the hiring, and I think a majority of journalists said, "Wow, what a great hiring! Goodbye, Jim Buss." So I think he wanted to be against the pack, but just the reasonings behind it were just not good.
And wanting to be against the pack is okay,
but just
sometimes,
the way you go about
but sometimes you pick and choose which time, and this wasn't a time to be against, especially like you said, the reason why. So, but that leads us to
trade or just the overall trades.
Yeah,
can we talk trades?
Yeah, because somebody needs to trade Dan Le Batard.
To where?
Fox Sports.
No, don't send them there. They're on the rise. You don't need that kind of.
All right, Yahoo Sports. Did Yahoo Sports just lose Adrian Wojnarowski? Adrian Wojnarowski might be my favorite.
He's at ESPN now, I think.
Yeah. I think he went to ESPN. That guy knows everything. That guy has an ear in every I want to take a lesson. I want to take a class with him on how to get sources because he has a source.
You would arguably, is he the best basketball insider right now on the planet?
Insider. If we're talking insider, I think yes.
Adrian, you know Adrian Wojnarowski?
I've heard of him. I don't.
Wojo.
Yeah.
I would say that. I'm not necessarily that he's the greatest writer or whatever, but I think he's the most in tune journalist of.
All right, question. Assess how you felt about DeMarcus Cousins being traded to New Orleans Pelicans. Were you shocked? Were you surprised? Do you think it's beneficial? Just give me your assessment.
I wasn't.
Not you.
Oh, sorry.
Her.
Oh, really? Starting with me, great.
Ladies first.
I was reading up on what Rachel Nichols said, and shout out to Rachel Nichols, female.
Yeah.
If you didn't know.
Yeah, so she, like she said, don't know how well he'll fare, but the basketball will be fun now in New Orleans. You know, you have one of those players that definitely will bring some spark to the game. So I think that'll be a great way for fans and a great competition. You know, I like it. I actually like that trade.
Do you think he's gonna stay?
I don't think.
You're a free agent after the summer.
I don't think he has a reason to leave though. I mean, I definitely think he's gonna enjoy playing in that city because if you don't like New Orleans, something's wrong with you. But so I really do think he will. I think he will actually enjoy having a balance. I think that was probably what was tough for him being in Sacramento. Didn't have a balance. So his life was all around basketball. And you don't have to feel that way in New Orleans.
What about you?
Well, I was going to ask, what do you think?
One of you guys.
I like the trade because I feel like it gives New Orleans another piece to build around. I don't necessarily think it's gonna matter because the style of play in the NBA is not suited for having two bigs dominating the post. But the NBA is a game of trends and cycles, so you never know how it'll play. But I feel like for the next few seasons, I don't really see how, unless they get some guards or some shooters around them guys, I don't see them being any better really.
Oh.
I mean, DeMarcus Cousins has never won more than 30 games in a season by himself. And I mean, how much winning has Anthony Davis done on his own? So it's really like,
but I do.
And then
you're bringing
you're bringing a volatile personality onto a team with a superstar who's younger than him. So it's not like you're bringing him into a team where there's veteran leadership. He's still one of the older players on the team, and Boobie Cousins was 26. So and Anthony Davis is 24, so he's younger. I know there's a mutual respect. They both went to Kentucky. They both played for Calipari. But what the hell does that mean at the end of the day when you're playing on the court together and things ain't going right and you get in a yelling match or tensions are not good? I mean, I feel like they can play together. They're both exceptional talents by themselves, individual talents. And I feel like they can play really well together. But until I feel like they get more shooters, it's a good step in the right direction. But if they don't build the necessary pieces around them, then it won't go anywhere. And I definitely do not think they have the right coach for the job. I do not think Alvin Gentry is the right coach to take them either.
Interesting.
He's been in the league for how long now?
Yeah, but he did good in Phoenix.
He did good. Name the other jobs he did good at.
When he
Assistant
hit
coach
the Bucks
for the Warriors.
Yeah, when he hit the Bucks too.
But I'm just glad that Cousins got out of Sacramento because that situation, like, we were seeing a lot of DeMarcus Cousins, like, in my opinion, looking a little unhinged, like yelling at a reporter, like getting in his face, having to be held back by Garrett Temple. Like,
but do you really think the location is gonna change that? If somebody writes something about him, you think that's gonna be because he's in New Orleans, is gonna change his mentality?
The thing is, DeMarcus Cousins, and the reason why I know this is because I'm kind of the same way. DeMarcus Cousins does not forget slights. Like, he holds a grudge. There was one basketball writer who wrote, DeMarcus Cousins in 5 years will be arrested. 5 years on the day that article came out, DeMarcus Cousins retweeted that and said, look at you now. For 5 years, DeMarcus Cousins was holding that. And that was a really messed up comment. 100% I would have felt the same. But there are people who, like, people throw stuff at them and it just bounces off. DeMarcus Cousins is someone who holds a grudge. Not saying it's a bad thing. I do the same thing. But in Sacramento, time after time, they mishandled him. They fired the only coach he ever had a good relationship with. Up until 30 minutes before the trade, Vlade Divac told Cousins, "We're not trading you," and then they trade him. Like the Kings are not a well-run organization, and DeMarcus Cousins, they're not. Come on, they're objectively not a well-run organization right now under Vivek Ranadive. But DeMarcus Cousins, I feel like would thrive somewhere, and I don't think New Orleans is the place, but I think he would thrive somewhere that's stable, that has a coach that can say, okay, this is what we're doing, and not be, I don't know if this is a curse word, we can bleep it, not be dicked around by the front office constantly.
I agree. So back to this Alvin Gentry. He's been a coach for 13 years. He's been to the playoffs twice. His overall record, 365 wins, 422 losses. I don't think he's a good coach. So
I think he's a good offensive mind. I think there's a difference between being able. I think there are people who are set to be assistant coaches, and I think Alvin Gentry, Mike D'Antoni. I know the Rockets are doing well, but I think these guys who are amazing offensive minds are good for assistant coaching.
That's not true because Rick Carlisle is a great offensive coach, and I would say he's definitely.
Well, Rick Carlisle's personality, I think he's a better leader than.
I like Mike D'Antoni too. I think Mike D'Antoni's effective when he has a point guard. In any situation where he's at a point guard, he's been good.
I would like to compare Mike D'Antoni's record to Alvin Gentry's record. Then I'm pretty sure
and also
their record probably around the same.
The Phoenix Suns with Amari Stoudemire, Sean Marion, I believe Joe Johnson, Raja Bell, Steve Nash. I think that is the most perfect Mike D'Antoni team that will ever be assembled, and I don't think. And they never made it to the finals.
But one Alvin Gentry around that group?
Yeah, he was Alvin Gentry, and is basically a disciple of Mike D'Antoni with the offense. Mike D'Antoni created the offense. Alvin Gentry helped him perfect the offense, and then him and Alvin Gentry are like the architects of the 3 seconds or less.
So Mike D'Antoni has been he's won 455 games. He's lost 426. He has a winning percentage of .516, not bad. And he's been to the playoffs 6 years.
And what's Alvin's winning percentage?
It's like 42%.
So it's not too far off. And Mike D'Antoni's probably had more years as a head coach, right?
I just don't know. I think Alvin Gentry's the right guy to make an offense.
He's had 1 year less.
As head coach?
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
I think Gentry is good for making an offense for Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins, because having two bigs, it's hard to make an offense for that. And I think Gentry's a good mind for that. I don't see Gentry as... Like, for Cousins, I wanted him to go to a place with a coach that was a good leader of men.
And you don't think Gentry?
Do you really want to build your franchise around a player who can't control his temper?
No.
But I think
that's why I didn't want the Lakers to trade for him.
He's going to grow up, though. I think
he's been in the league for 7 years now.
26 years old.
Yeah, but that doesn't...
At some point, you got to...
but even when he came into the league young.
But I'm saying, at this point, you've been in the league for 7 years. You know the reporters are going to say whatever they want to say. You know you're going to be a talk of discussion if things don't go well. But yet, somehow you still find yourself always getting technical fouls, always arguing calls, getting ejected.
Raking up almost $900,000 in fines throughout your career.
It's like, at this point, you've been in... I understand you say he can grow over time, but it's all about pattern. His pattern consistently has been he can't control himself.
But
so for me to believe that all of a sudden he's gonna grow and become mature after 7 years of hard evidence that he hasn't.
But he's changing the environment, so that's already broken the pattern. And then
but he changed the environment when he went from Kentucky to Sacramento, and he still had the same.
Yeah, but that was from college to a pro league. So
and he still has the same issues now that he did then.
But now that's what I'm saying. College to pro league, he was young. So now that he's older,
I'm sorry, he's a grown man. You can't sit here and say that the location is the only reason why he's going to change.
No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying the environment, period. Like, he's going to be around players.
But people always revert back to their habits at the end of the day. And his habit is he can't control his temper on the court. Like, you that emotional that you can't control yourself?
Especially if you believe in...
Like, even if I know I have 17 technical fouls, I get one more, I'm getting suspended. You can't control yourself because he got suspended.
Okay. but that means then he can never change from that.
I didn't say he could never change. I'm just saying, as in terms of his time as a player,
right?
He is in the prime of his career where he's the most effective as a player. I'm saying building my franchise around him now as a player, I would not do that because he has not shown to me that he can control himself. Right. If you're a franchise player, part of being a franchise player is being a leader. He's a fantastic talent. He's a great player, can do it all as a big. But as terms of a leader, I don't look at Boobie Cousins as a leader.
Well, I don't think. I mean, I think that's why they still got Anthony Davis there. I don't know if they
I
necessarily.
mean, we don't really know if he's a leader either.
One thing I was gonna say, because you brought up,
but we know that his personality. We know he knows how to have self control.
He does. Yeah,
and that's what I'm thinking that they're looking at that type of influence with Drew Holiday.
But you're asking a player who's younger than you to be able to control you and rein you in when you get wild.
Well, not controlled. Nobody wants to be controlled, but
rein you in when you're wild. You know how, and you know the, and
no, you're just asking people. Period. As long as you're around people that set good examples, and that's what I'm thinking. And I don't think that has anything to do with age. Many times I was on the team and I was the youngest player on the team, but I still was made a leader just because of the example of your actions.
And I'm saying that's you either have it or you don't. He don't got it, and you saying that he gonna develop it over time, and that doesn't show it.
I'm saying he's gonna develop it because he's around people now that can hold him accountable. I don't think he was around people on that Sacramento team where he actually felt like y'all could hold me accountable, and that he also didn't feel like the front office or anybody else in that organization. So hypothetically,
you're in a relationship with somebody. They continuously keep cheating on you. They get in a relationship with somebody else. Do you think all of a sudden they're going to be faithful?
Yeah, well, I would say they may can. I wouldn't have that thought to be like they couldn't be.
I'm asking you, based off your experiences with that person, them cheating on you, and then they get in a relationship with someone else, your initial thing is to think that they're going to be committed to that person and not cheat? You're really going to tell me that? After you experienced
you've been in a
relationship.
That's what I said. But
I don't think anyone would ever cheat on Charlotte. So
I'm just saying, like,
hypothetically,
true that. But I'm saying hypothetically, you can't sit here and say if your experience with someone and they leave you feeling that way, that they're gonna all of a sudden change because of the environment or the.
But I wouldn't put it past them because
I'm not saying. I'm just saying I'm not saying it's not possible.
So my thought, but that's what I'm saying. So my thought probably would be, well, they found somebody that they want to.
You are a very, very optimistic thinker then, because I would definitely be like, yo,
I'm with
he
you
about to
on that
do
one.
the same thing that he did to me.
Really?
I'm on a once a cheater, always a cheater.
Yeah,
wow.
Not even that. It's just like you've shown me the blueprint of who you are.
Right.
So my experience with you has led me to believe that you are this type of person.
But see, that's where I would have been like my experience.
I'm putting blind faith that you're gonna change because of an environment. In this situation, it would be another girl. You're gonna change your mannerisms because of that person. When you're with my experience with you, you're immune to being, you're immune to not being faithful, cheating on me, lying. Or you're
immune
whatever the word. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you're right. Some people are not immune.
Just to be a jabroni to be right in the middle. A point for both of you. I think on your side, he loved Sacramento, and I don't think like the changing of the environment. He's leaving a city he absolutely loved, but the environment of the front office was toxic. But did you guys see the video of him talking to people in Sacramento? It was kind of heartbreaking.
He really loves Sacramento?
Yeah, dude, watch the video. He did.
I could really put up the picture of how he was reaming out that reporter.
No. He didn't like the media. He loved the city.
I've been to Sacramento.
He loved it. Oh no, you might not love it, but he loved it. But then a second thing for Charlotte's point is, I think this is the first time that he's able to prove if it was just his environment.
Right.
If I was his friend, I'd be like, listen, this is your time to say it was all Sacramento. And also, this is the first time he's been on a team that A, wasn't his team, because Sacramento was his team from day one, and B, where he might not be the best player on his team.
And C, he's mature. Like, that's what I'm saying. He's coming into a new position, a new opportunity at a different age and time in his life. And and to Pasha's point, like he said earlier, he's always one that wants to prove everybody wrong. So I can't see him going into this now with that same type of mentality, because he's going to want to prove everybody wrong. Like all the people that are thinking he has that pattern of blowing up. That's what he's been waiting on, that moment to show.
All right, so two things. One, him being the second best player. He's always been the focal point of the offense. So now he's going to a team where he's not going to be the focal point. How is he going to respond to that? Two, he has a horrible reputation with the referees. That's not changing just because he's moving to New Orleans. So if he gets into an altercation on the court with a referee, is he going to revert back to that old Sacramento habits? Or is he going to be this newfound Boobie Cousins who loves New Orleans food because of the beignets and all the gumbo?
Man.
I've never had beignets.
And
It's
delicious.
And the char-grilled oysters. Shout out to Orlando.
Am I allowed to do a food tangent real quick? Or
Yeah.
Go ahead.
can someone explain beignets to me? Because the only time I've seen him is in the movie Princess and the Frog.
Pastry.
Yeah,
it's like a donut.
So good.
Donut, but without a hole in the
So
middle.
with powder. Yeah,
with
donut without a
powdered
hole in the
sugar
middle. With
instead
powdered
of,
sugar. It's so
cream
good.
sugar.
Yeah, it's
Okay.
delicious. You gotta and you have to go get them in New Orleans.
If we ever move
Yeah.
this podcast for an episode to New Orleans, let's get it.
Let's go.
Should have been there for the All-Star game.
We
That would have been nice.
yeah, we should.
All right. Do we have any other topics? Any other things in basketball or sports community? you
Quick
guys?
question. So, we've focused obviously on the DeMarcus Cousins trade, but obviously other teams made trades. Do you feel like any team really helped their position in terms of winning a championship based off the trades they made?
Go ahead. I was going to just ask Pasha what did he think about them getting rid of Lou Williams, who had been the scoring person for the
Yeah, but I mean,
Lakers.
like him going to the Rockets. Was that a
Yeah.
good deal for the Rockets, or was
Right.
that because you couldn't? The Lakers are trying to get rid of anybody and anybody who can score, so they can tank and you could get
Right.
Lonzo Ball, who I don't. I mean, I think he's
Yeah.
gonna be
You
good.
think they trying to get Lonzo?
I really
Over
some,
D'Angelo?
something about over who?
Over D'Angelo?
Yeah, they want him. He's not. D'Angelo's not a pass first point guard. They need a pass point. And that's the thing. I know Magic Johnson's gonna
about to
go after
say,
him
yeah.
because he passes like him. So
Right.
it's just
That's not a bad point. That's not a
Like-
bad point at all.
so it's just.
I think
And I really think you should move D'Angelo to the 2. I think he'd be a better as a shooting guard.
maybe
You
a
have
good move.
because you have 2 ball handlers now. You have Lonzo Ball and you have D'Angelo Russell who likes to get his own offense. Then
But-
you move to the 3 with Brandon Ingram and you have Randall at the 4. We don't know who's gonna be at the 5 yet. What's his name? Zubek.
Zubac. Love Ivica Zubac.
We could put him
I
at the 5.
love Ivica. But speaking of 5 for the Lakers, I am a little peeved that the Lakers didn't go after Nerlens Noel.
The Lakers don't need players that are going to help them. They need to get rid of players.
I'm talking.
They're trying to
talking,
tank.
I know, but we're still building towards something. And I think the Nerlens Noel is the perfect guy to match up. Like, think of a starting lineup of D'Angelo Russell, Jordan Clarkson, Brandon Ingram, Julius Randle, and Nerlens Noel. Nerlens Noel is the guy that will put in the middle. Oh, let's turn it off. That will put in the middle to defend. And we could have gotten him for cheap.
Who are you going to trade him for?
I think I love Jordan Clarkson. I think Philadelphia would have done a Jordan Clarkson for Nerlens Noel 100%.
No.
100% they would have.
I don't think. I don't think. I don't
know if we would have done
I don't
that.
think it would have traded a big for a backup shooting guard.
Well,
On Philadelphia's side or on Philadelphia? Philadelphia has like 10 big men. They were trying to offload one of their big men and they needed a
I think
guard.
they got rid of
bad.
the wrong big man. They should
I
got rid of
agree.
Okafor for
I
real.
5,000,000% agree.
But I mean, they wanted to send him to New Orleans, and they got DeMarcus Cousins instead. So you can't really fault New Orleans for not wanting Okafor
For
anymore.
taking Cousins over Okafor. But I think to your original question of which team
Oh yeah.
made-
What about Serge Ibaka
Championship?
going to the Raptors?
That's what I was gonna say. I think that one, because right now I think the Cavs are showing a little bit of weakness in terms of Kevin Love being injured.
It's all about a story narrative, for real. I feel
Oh,
like the
yeah.
Cavs do this on purpose. Kevin Love's going to be injured. He'll show up in the playoffs and start hitting threes. They'll get to the finals.
but he hasn't
I
really
think-
showed up.
What are you talking about? He had a great season. He's been having a great season. He's having 20,
Yeah, but
21 and 10.
No, you didn't let me finish.
Go ahead.
But thanks.
Don't-
I was just gonna say.
Don't jump on the only white player in the NBA who still got a chance to be a star.
Well, that's my point. Maybe they're putting too much on him because he hasn't showed up in the playoffs yet.
Well, and I think you with any LeBron James team, you have to find weaknesses. Because LeBron James, and I'm a Kobe fan, but LeBron James might be the most complete player, arguably ever, but definitely right now in
Yeah,
the
he's
NBA.
definitely the most complete.
And he knows how to lead a team to the championship. And his teams, obviously, the past 6 years have made the championship. He knows what it takes to get there. And teams know that while he's in the East, it's going to be one hell of a fight. But I think with Kevin Love hurt and coming back maybe a little weaker with Serge Ibaka on the Raptors, and Raptors have been pushing the Cavs a little bit. I know they lost 4-2
Yeah.
last year, but
No, you
The Raptors aren't even the Raptors have fallen off low key. I think there's 2 other teams that are still better than them right now.
yeah, but they
Boston
always show
And
up.
Washington.
and Washington.
I think Washington's better than them too.
Yeah,
Washington's
but
good.
the Raptors got
Washington don't have they don't have a defender for LeBron though.
They have the best guard in the East, not named Kyrie Irving.
but they
Or is it?
I would definitely take him over. I would
who
definitely.
Jeremy? No,
John
I'd definitely take John Wall over
Wall.
Isaiah Thomas.
Okay. I think I would
I
too.
think
I
John Wall
would too.
can
But
play.
I think it's
he's a
close.
better all around. I mean, Isaiah Thomas is a great
But-
offensive player, but all around, taking John Wall.
But Toronto's backcourt is still nothing to sleep
DeMar
on.
DeRozan and
DeMar
Kyle
DeRozan
Lowry.
can't shoot.
Yeah,
So,
Yeah, but the guy's still scoring
I was
25
about
a
to
game.
say,
Yeah,
He's
he's
still
scoring
average-
25 a game, but when it's time to play some teams who can actually guard him, he can't score
Dude,
threes.
Toronto also got
I don't
PJ Tucker
know.
too. Did you see
Did you
that?
see the series they had against Indiana last year?
Yeah.
Him and Lowry were awful.
Right, but that, I mean,
Paul George was the best player on the court.
praise that. But
That's how Terrence knew he was gonna win.
yes.
Terrence knows science.
but to Toronto's defense though, I mean the Pacers defense, I mean they even have at times disrupted LeBron. So I mean that's just a good defensive team. Like and Nate McMillan's a good defensive coach. So I don't expect.
Speaking of Paul George,
Speaking.
speculations
Yeah.
coming to the Lakers.
I
He
think-
really wants to come here.
I think that's agent talk.
Yeah.
Anytime I see that stuff, it's got to be released by someone.
I think it's soap opera talk too.
What about you? You seem convinced.
I don't care if he comes or not. I don't feel like you're gonna win a championship with him. So
Well, I mean, I definitely think he would need some more than just him.
he can't be the focal point.
I think Paul George.
if Paul
on
George
the
is your
Lakers-
best player on the team, you're not winning a championship.
Really?
No,
Wow.
Whoa.
I don't think so.
No, I don't know about that.
I don't think he's the best. If he's the best player on the team, I don't think he can win a championship.
Right.
Okay, so
I
okay.
think he's surrounded. If he's the second or third option on a super team, they'll win a championship. But
How
I would
many
not put
players
him as
in
my
the
first
NBA
player.
would Paul George be second fiddle to? LeBron.
LeBron, Harden, Westbrook, Durant, Curry.
Oh my God.
Okay, no, but
no comment on this.
okay, no, those are
They,
six
they
players
will,
though.
though. That's just
I
fair.
don't know.
Yeah.
I
Okay,
don't
so
know.
those are six players. I think Paul George is.
Wall. I think he'd be second fiddle to John Wall too.
No,
Yeah.
Paul George is better than John Wall.
I don't
know.
think so.
I think. I
No.
mean, I don't know.
All right, who
I don't
would I
wanna
put
become
over
biased
here?
on here.
I'll take Anthony Davis.
Over
I'll take-
Paul George.
I'll take
Okay.
him. I'll take Kat. I'll take
Okay.
Giannis.
Ooh, Giannis is nice.
Giannis is. I think Giannis might be the next best player
Dude.
in the NBA, bro. For
Mm.
him
And-
or Anthony Davis.
And he's
Cat-
just a good guy. Like I don't know. I follow Yanni a lot because I have a friend from Wisconsin. I freaking love Yanni. Just
He's-
a good-hearted person.
Aw.
I would take.
Shout out.
See. All right. So I think.
Paul
in
George or
some
Jimmy
situations, I'll take Jimmy Butler.
Ooh,
Yeah.
Whoa.
I like Jimmy Butler though.
Okay.
So
Okay.
I
But-
like Dwayne Wade.
Okay. No, over Paul George.
No,
Oh,
I'm just saying.
just in
Speaking
general.
of Bulls,
I don't think. I really don't think. They're not grooming the team in Indiana for it to be Paul George's team anymore.
really?
I think it's Miles Turner's team now.
That's the rumor.
So
Ah,
I think that's
That's
why
a
he's being
good-
forced out.
Terrence, the reason why I asked you is of who he would play second fiddle to.
There's some
is-
players that he might be better than that he just put. Like I think he's better all around player than
I was
Russell
about to
Westbrook,
just
but he
say.
will play second fiddle to him because that guy needs the ball.
But I don't know.
Like,
okay. Well, then I understand your point. If
Yeah.
you're saying like that.
But
I
I
think
don't
he's a
know
better off
what
the
other
ball player
players-
than a lot of players in the league that we
Right.
say. Like Harden needs the ball to be effective,
Right.
But I
but
think
Paul George is a better off the ball player than a lot of people give him credit for.
I think Paul George is more gettable than other than Jimmy Butler. I was surprised.
I wouldn't-
take Jimmy Butler. I don't think we can get anyone else.
I
better
wouldn't
than
take
Paul
Jimmy Butler
George.
because I just don't. I like him as a player, but the way he's shown me how he's handled the leadership in Chicago, I don't
Yeah.
think he's a good leader. Like to call out your teammates in the media
And your coach.
and your coach,
What
go
do
in,
you, I'm not
like put guys don't play hard. Not everybody want to care, and then there's and he really called out his teammates
Yeah, but
to
what's
the
wrong
media
with telling the truth?
because it caused a rift between the teammates, and Rondo went and blasted him.
And said what?
He basically said, my veterans wouldn't do anything like that. My veterans shut up and put the work in. My veterans don't come to the media talking trash. My veterans, he just made a long list of things of
Yeah.
complaints that he had,
So
which
he-
people argued that Rondo was just saying that so he can get out of Chicago.
Right.
But he has some truth to it.
But it sounds like Rondo feelings were hurt because somebody aired out their dirty laundry.
Well,
I mean, I don't have a problem with teammates calling out teammates in public if it's something substantiated to back that up. Like
what you're
I
saying?
think I would call him out.
What you're saying is right. I think there was talk that he was hurt because Rondo has been working a lot with the younger guys. Apparently,
Mm-hmm.
the Chicago media was saying he's working the young guys out a lot. So it's kind of like if you're helping a younger kid train, and then the veterans are like, that kid messed up the shot. That kid did this. He's too young. Like I think Rondo was defending the young guns, but I don't know. Rondo.
And you can still
Rondo,
defend them, but like I said,
I'm not a huge fan
you
of Rondo.
shouldn't take
I
it.
should just say.
I don't mind you not being. But you should be able to take criticism, long as the criticism is warranted. If it's not taken out of context, where you're just being malicious and a bad teammate. And if he's got a right to call him out, I mean, if they're losing and they're losing because that's what you're supposed to do. That's what make you a team.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I think we're gonna wrap it up, you guys.
Yeah.
Thank you guys for tuning in to
Everybody
Peeps in
have
the
a great
Pod.
weekend.
Have a great weekend, everyone. Be safe.